feed served by former President Trump during that McDonald's stop yesterday. Nayara Andrzejczyk says that she was asked to attend a Trump campaign event, but had no idea that the former president would actually be working at the drive-thru until she started hearing excitement in the car in front of her. She's lived in the United States for almost 26 years after coming here from Brazil, and she made this comment to the former president. Watch.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this,
And
right?
you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it good.
Please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Mr.
Compliments
President.
of Trump.
Yes.
Have a good time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you over there. How you doing?
Oh my God.
All right, are we here? Okay. Is everybody, I'm going to put the comments up and see if, good morning, Carrie. Am I coming through? I've had a lot of technical challenges this morning. So putting that clip up was not easy. I've got some slow internet problems and it looks like I'm a little choppy here on my video. So, okay, everybody seems to be giving me the thumbs up that I'm coming through. Okay, so good to be back with you guys. I missed last week. We were on vacation to Maine. I've got the Acadia National Park hat on. We were up in beautiful, gorgeous Maine. And hey, you guys are lucky. I was tempted to do nothing this show, but show you pictures of Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts in the fall with the changing leaves. It was stunning. We don't get that here. You know, I've talked a lot about California, especially Southern California. We don't get changing leaves much. We get a few, but knocked out by the Lord's beauty of his creation and those states, and a little bit of Boston, a couple days in Boston of history tour. Yeah. Very blue, and you're right, Carrie. Beautiful country up there, very blue. Yes, blue on top of these most stunning colors you've ever seen in these trees, and then a blue lake underneath, reflecting those. Oh, like I said, you guys are lucky. I'm not just showing pictures of that, doing an old slideshow of my vacation. That would be what I'm tempted to do. But anyways, I wanted to share that clip of Trump at the McDonald's drive-through window, because what I wanted really to focus on today was a little bit was work, and the importance of work and how we should look as a society, as Christians, should look at the concept of work. We have a working God. We have a creating God. In the creation narrative, God created the world, and then he rested. On the seventh day, he rested from his work. And he's a creator, and we are created in his image to also be procreators, to also create, to work. And there's some. Okay, here I go with the technical challenges again. I'm going to share this with you. So a couple Bible verses here. 1 Timothy 5:8. Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So you get the idea that God takes this concept of work very seriously. Ephesians 4:28 here. So we look at it. Anyone who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with their own hands, that they may have something to share with those in need. So, and what I think this happened when we were on vacation, and it just struck me that, and I also saw some of the reaction to a lot of Trump's opposition, the Democrats and those who are against him, saying how it was just a stunt and, beneath him, why is he doing this kind of thing? But this is what I think Trump does, and I think it's a really good message to send to people right now, because one of the biggest challenges we have in this country, and one of the biggest challenges we have as Christians facing our society, that again we talked about before, being salt and light in our society, in our world, is a concept of work, because work has become has gone from something necessary and non-optional to something optional. And especially with all the lockdowns from this thing and that thing, which you still can't say, work has become something that's optional for a lot of people, especially young men. And it's funny, I recently remodeled the house that we're in right now, and we did an extension on it. And the biggest challenge that I had in lining up contractors and getting this house remodeled was the contractors tell me we can't get anybody to work. It was a very long, much longer process than it should be, much longer than in years past when I did remodels or anything. But there's this big issue in our society today where people don't want to work. And I think that's a fundamental, again, it's a worldview. Again, I keep going back to the worldview. As I said before, when the media was lying to us, that was in my previous podcast, that was a worldview action. That was worldview in action. Truth doesn't matter. We're going to shade the truth, whatever. Encouraging people not to work is also a worldview action. The Judeo-Christian worldview values work, the Protestant work ethic, right? It's at the very core of what we do, because it's the very core of who God is. God was a creator God. And okay, Carrie, I like that comment. Comfort shovel cow poop, given the chance, he's so down to earth. Yeah. And he kind of is, for a guy who grew up in the skylines of Manhattan. He is a billionaire. He's been a billionaire. I think his father was a millionaire at least. And Trump's been a rich guy. He went bankrupt, and then he gained all his billions back, which again gives him a lot of credibility. Not a lot of people have a lot of sympathy for billionaires, but if you have a billionaire that's gone out of business or gone bankrupt, and then he works hard, puts his nose to the grindstone, and gets back to the place he was before, which is not easy to even do one time. Imagine it's not easy to be a billionaire one time, but if you can do it twice, you've got a work ethic. Okay. And this is what Trump's doing. He's showing, not only does he have the work ethic, he's showing America that work, no matter what it is honorable and it has dignity. A lot of the comments I'm hearing are like, so, scooping fries at McDonald's, or that's so beneath. One commentator I heard would say that this is brilliant on Trump because he's validating this job. It seems to be the intro of all intro jobs, working at McDonald's. And a lot of people in the elite class will look down on this. Even, I would never have my children, scooping fries at McDonald's or working in the window. Oh, how, not my child, not my little angel. He's so much smarter. He's so much better than that. But it's work, and work is honorable. Our daughter worked at 31 Flavors, scooping ice cream. That's where she started. And now she's doing quite well in a biotech company here in San Diego. So he's giving dignity to the idea of working hard, finding an opportunity, working hard. He went into that McDonald's and validated everyone that was working there. And it was nice that he surprised the people coming up the drive-through. AC. Did you start at 31 flavors? AC, if that's true, that's a great comment. And I love what the lady said. And there were people in the clip, I'm sure you guys all saw it, but there were people just thanking him. I think there were a couple of people from sounded like India that were saying that he's doing such great and how they're praying for him. So yes, AC said, yes, I did. 31 flavors. All right. Cool. So, and I wanted to do that just because, as I was telling this commenter, Bill Whittle, I'll have to introduce you guys to him at some point, because I remember I want to introduce you guys to the worldview people that I listen to. But he was saying how brilliant a move this is, because it tells America that, hey, I'm going to bring back work. And JD Vance was on an interview, and I wanted to share this with you too. And again, we'll have to see how this goes with and I think I have to add it here, and then I go here, and I think I have to remove my
reason that there is a housing crisis is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction workforce in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large portion are undocumented. So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a fair question, because we know that back in the 1960s, when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses. But of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, in service of a point, Lulu, the assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes. I think, again,
the country is much bigger.
Fundamental.
The need is much bigger. I mean, I'm not arguing in favor of illegal immigration. I'm asking how you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy.
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime age men dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could age folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
to work in construction?
Of course you could. Think about this from the perspective of an American company, okay? I want them to go searching in their own country for their own citizens. Sometimes people who may be struggling with addiction or trauma, get them re-engaged in American society. We cannot have an entire American business community that is giving up on American workers and then importing millions of illegal laborers. That is
Okay. That, folks, is brilliant. And that is, to me, is a game changer. It's a worldview game changer. Yes. And America kids with all like little job, more money, then career job. And on this, and the reason I put this up, curious, is I can't stand to listen to these people, pure stupidity. And it's, I know you're talking about the interviewer who was, if you notice the condescending tone towards something like construction. Back in the 60s, JD Vance mentioned back in the 60s and 70s, of course, nobody built houses and nobody lived in them. Well, of course they did. My dad was one of them. My dad was in construction, and he built the house I grew up in, actually. And the key to that exchange, the thing that hit me so hard, and because I this is part of what I see and part of what I do. The young men in this country, 7 million prime age young men who have disengaged not only from the workforce, but from society. Those are the people that we need to start with. And again, the condescending tone, you mean in construction? Those people would do construction? Well, of course. Construction is totally respectable, honorable work. I'm like, lady, who do you think built the studio that you're doing this interview in? Who do you think you built your brownstone in Georgetown that you, or wherever she is? I don't even know. Right? I'm doing some, some assuming here, making some assumptions, but the condescending tone and the elitist attitude of, that work is beneath us. That work goes to those people, that we bring across the border that don't quite look like us. That's for them. That's not for us. That is the soft racism of, they call it lower expectations, not exactly lower expectations, but that is soft racism right there. That we are above that. Those people with that different color skin, that's their role in the world, not ours. So I just wanted to share that with you because I think the messaging is right on. So yeah, they all spew what they know are lies. Yes. And that's another thing. And again, that's the world view. That's the Marxist kind of socialist worldview. They know they're lying. They know that they're elitist. And it's funny. I always talk to Michael about this, and sometimes Ben, kind of the in-your-face attitude about it. Hey, we're going to say this. We know it's BS. You know it's BS, but we're going to say it anyways, and we're going to make you accept it. And that's a power thing. It's almost, I always compare it to Michael Corleone in The Godfather, talking to the senator from Nevada, if anybody knows that scene, but the senator's like trying to get him a gaming license, and it's a power game. And the senator's like, how much are you going to give me to give you a gaming license in this state? And Michael Corleone says, nothing. As a matter of fact, I'd appreciate it if you'd pay for it. And then, of course, they leave. And then through his thuggish tactics, Michael eventually gets the senator to pay for it for him. And that's this power thing of, I've got you. The elitists have this power thing. They've had this power thing for a long time where they can spew these lies, like Carrie said. And they know it's lying. They're lying. We know they're lying. But they're putting it out there and saying, we're going to get you to accept this anyways. And you can go through all the social issues. You can go with all the political things. You go to lockdowns, whatever. It's all a power game to them. But they have a problem now. They've got this rich, super rich billionaire elite, who should be elitist, who used to be one of them, right? New York billionaire, playboy running around New York, Democrat. But now all of a sudden he's kind of flipped the script on them and he's become a man of the people. How does this billionaire become a man of the people? New York billionaire. And his vice president is right on target with what he's saying to the media. There's other interviews I was looking at where he does the same thing to the interviewers. And this is a kind of a new Republican thing here of not accepting what these liberal elitist media people are trying to get them to say. I'm so used to seeing Republicans, people from my party, twisting into knots to try and please whoever is interviewing them from CBS or NPR or whatever. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Everybody knows what's going on here. Why don't you fight back? Now, all of a sudden, We have an America that's in so much trouble financially. Our social fabric is tearing apart. People, inflation is killing people. We were just talking about this with my family last night. Inflation is killing people. We have millions of young men who have dropped out and checked out of the workforce and are checking out of society. And here are these two people giving us exactly what we need in that area. They are doing, this is exactly the messaging that they need to give to America. We will bring back work. We will bring back work for Americans. We will get this inflation under control because, you know, Trump has a track record. You could look back to his previous presidency. Inflation was nothing and the economy was strong. Okay. And JD Vance is also making a comment about the border. The border will be secure. So not only does fentanyl coming across the border hurt us, not only is it the human trafficking coming across the border hurt us, but the millions of laborers who are working for, poverty wages is hurting, not only hurting Americans, but keeping them in poverty, the people coming across the border. So it's a bad deal all the way around. And Trump and Vance are the only ones out there saying it. No other Republican could do this. No other Republican team could do this as effectively as these two guys are. So, okay, yeah. And that's, I want to show this comment. Hey, Chloe, talk about Rich. I saw Mark Cuban and Bill Maher today complaining because a rich, wealthy man was expressing his opinion, discussing Elon. Hilarious. I was almost going to talk about Elon today, to give you a California story, but maybe I'll do that next week because something's going on with him here in California too. So anyways, that was kind of where I wanted to take it and put it in the context again of the Christian worldview. As Christians, we value work. And I especially kind of want to call out any Christian parents out there that think your child is somehow above working at McDonald's or working at 31 Flavors or any kind of job at that level. And because I see it a lot, I really do. And also the idea of your child working, getting that model we have that we've been sold, how we have to send our children to these elite universities so they can get a high paying corporate job and go on and be successful in life. Then that's the only way they can do it. I see that a lot too. More and more and more, I've heard the children of these parents say, college, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to rack up that much debt. And I don't know why some parents want to send their kids to these colleges that will completely change their children's worldview. Again, this is where most of this takes place, is in the education, higher education. So the idea of them getting job training, going to trade schools is growing more and more and more. Another guy I want to introduce you to, you guys probably already know, is Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs. He talks a lot about this. Why are we sending our kids to college? To prepare for them for jobs that aren't there, when the construction trade jobs, the people that keep the lights on, the air conditioner working, the plumbing clear, whatever, and build, are in construction and actually build these buildings and houses that we live in. Why are we discounting that and sending our kids to college where their minds will be totally messed up and they will be unprepared for anything in the workforce? So, so that's what I kind of want to share today. Yeah. Love Mike Rowe. He's the best. So let's see what some other comments you guys have here. Yeah. Okay. I will, I'm going to have to talk about Elon Musk next week. Maybe they complain about Elon helping campaign, but nothing about Bill Gates dropping 50 million this week. Up 50 million this week. Wow, that's his pocket change, right? So, yeah, and it's funny. And just in California here, we have again those kinds of challenges. If you don't know what they're talking about, Elon Musk wanted to up his frequency of his rocket launches, the SpaceX rocket launches. And one of the people in the Coastal Commission here in California denied it and said, no, you can't do that because basically of Elon Musk's political stance. He said, you're using your company and you're speaking out in favor of your political candidate. So therefore we cannot allow you to increase the frequency of your launches. And if you don't know, Elon Musk, he just had a successful test of the eventual system that he wants to go to Mars with. And it looks like he might actually be able to make it work. And one of the things he wants to do in order to go to Mars, you got to launch a lot, I think a rocket every hour or something to make Mars doable. And that's what he wants to do. And if anybody can do it, it's Elon. But some bureaucrat on the Coastal Commission here, power hungry, again, California, apparatchik, said, no, I'm not going to let you do that because I don't like your political action. And then as, who was it? Chloe, whoever, yeah, or AC, as AC just said, they complain. They would do more than complain about Elon helping the campaign. Elon's a MAGA guy now. So he's recently married. Wearing a MAGA hat, and apparently that was just too much for the California Coastal Commission. So they're not going to let him increase his. They're not going to let him increase his rocket launches because they don't like the fact that he's a MAGA guy. Where, like AC was just saying, Bill Gates can spend $50 million in a week to help Kamala Harris, but Elon, sorry, your politics are wrong. You are engaged in wrong speak. If you know that reference, that's 1984. So, yeah. So that's your California story for this week, I guess. That's what we face here. And it's interesting if the election goes as they say, and Trump wins. It'll be a very interesting time here in California, and I will be here to tell you about it because I think the left in general will go crazy if that happens. They could literally go nuts. They'll go over the edge. And I live in the bluest of blue states. So we'll see if that happens. Again, who knows what will happen? Who knew what happened last time would happen in the way it happened. So yes, Carrie, it should be interesting. There's an old curse that says, may you live in interesting times. And I think we have interesting times, and that should be, again, we think, well, that should be a blessing. I said, no, that's a curse, because if times are interesting, that means there's a lot of hard stuff going on. And because life is that way. We've had this little window for the last couple hundred years in this country of peace and prosperity, relative peace and relative prosperity, but that's not the norm. That's not the norm. So hopefully we won't be returning to that too soon, but hopefully things will go the way they're appearing to be going, and that there won't be any funny stuff going on, but we'll see. And my friend and another worldview mentor of mine, Dennis Prager, says, if nothing's horrific, life is terrific. So life's been pretty terrific these days, and we want to keep it that way for our children and grandchildren. That's why it's important that we talk about these things. Why important that we go out and get involved and do what we can. And Carrie, from your keyboard to God's ears, I want to see Callie go red. That would be something. You won't in the near future, but who's to say? You never know. Listen, Michael, like I say, God's in control. Thanks you guys for listening. Thanks for putting up with my tech troubles, and we will see you next week.